Welcome people, how are you all doing? I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope everything's great where you all are. Right, this is British Guy Reacts. I did one the other day where he was asking Brits if they knew how poor they were compared to the US states, where they'd come. It's in like 50 states in the US, whereabouts they'd come. Most people were saying like 7th or something. But yeah, it surprised me that Brits thought they was richer than what they are. And that's because he was asking middle class people. So they had a few quid. The average working class fella works month by month, innit? You work for your paycheck, you spend it, and wait for the next one. But yeah. So I'm guessing the Americans are going to be a little bit more clued up, because Americans know that they've got the #1 economy, I believe. I think it's about number 7th or 8th in the richest countries. I think we're like at number 10 or 12 now. Bloody India's above us. But yeah, I'm guessing that the Americans are gonna know. I really believe that they will. Right, let's get on with it. I've been talking too much. Give it a thumbs up. I'm already subscribed. And I want to say as well, I've done everything in my power to stop this damn flickering. I don't know what it is, so if there's any flickering that shows up, I just seen it there. I'm so sorry. I think I just got to get a new camera. So when I started this, apart from the laptop, everything I got was cheap mic and camera. So I genuinely believe it must be my camera for the flickering. I've changed my lighting. I've done everything in OBS and on my laptop, as AI keeps telling me to do, but the flickering doesn't seem to go, so it's got to be the camera. But anyway, I hope it doesn't annoy you too much. Let's get on with it.
I've now done 2 videos asking British people how rich the UK would be as an American state, and I was shocked. No one correctly guessed that we would be the poorest state. Now is the time to ask Americans. If the UK was an American state, obviously 50 states in the Union, how many states do you how many states do you think would be?
He's in UK still though, there, isn't he? Just to be fair, I bet there's loads of Americans in London.
Richer, and how many states poorer in terms of GDP per capita? So per person, basically.
So I'm originally from Iowa.
Okay.
Which is real poor.
Right.
Real poor. But I live in Austin right now.
Right.
So very expensive. I think it'd be like closer to like the Texas range.
Interesting.
So like higher up.
It's high, really? You think the UK is richer than most American states per person?
I'm surprised that she's saying this.
Yes.
Question mark? I'm going to surprise you. We would be the 51st state. We would
Girl,
be.
shut up.
No, seriously. I swear to God. There's been a big study by the Institute of Economic Affairs. Every single American state, including Mississippi, the poorest state, has now overtaken the UK in terms of GDP per capita.
Zoinks.
But that's really. But you're not the only person who's shocked, because British people were surveyed, 3,000 British people, and on average they thought we'd be the 7th richest state. We're actually the 51st.
So I'm British.
So you're British.
That's what I'm hearing.
Congratulations. Enjoy. If Britain was an American state...
Love that attitude.
So if we are the 51st state, how many states do you think would be richer than us, and how many poorer in terms of GDP per capita? So that's per person, basically.
These look like full-on middle-class Brits. They genuinely look like middle-class Brits to me, these two.
I think it'd be up there.
How many states do you think would be richer than us, and how many poorer in terms of GDP per capita? So that's per person, basically.
I think it'd be up there. I would say.
Basically.
You think one of the richest states?
Yeah.
I'll say number 2.
Number 2. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from what we've obviously...
It must be a bit. It genuinely does surprise me. Apart from a couple of the major cities, everywhere tends to look pretty nice. So it's a bit of a facade then, is it? That people looking around thinking that everything's wealthy. But as someone said in the last one, that the inequality, that's the wrong word to use, because I'm a firm believer in capitalism. You got to earn what you've got. I forgot what my point was anyway.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We just know like this area, so
Based
I'm sure there are probably other.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Everywhere genuinely looks nice and looks as though there's money there.
Just travelled in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure there are probably.
For
it would be like
24
if
hours.
you went to New York City and you'd probably say this. the reverse, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to shock you because there's been a big study and the UK it would now be poorer than every single American state per capita. We're
Really?
overtaken by Mississippi, which is the poorest American state.
Wow.
So this is per person, to be clear. We would now be poorer than all 50 states. But
Okay, so
you're-
we're dead wrong.
yeah.
But honestly, being
Slightly.
wrong is not a surprise because British people were surveyed, 3,000 British people, so this is by the Institute of Economic Affairs, and the average answer was 7th. They thought we'd be the 7th richest state, which is not far from where you guys were. The actual answer is the 51st. Per person,
Okay.
how many American states do you think are richer than the UK? How many are poorer?
I think there's a lot more poorer states
You
in
reckon?
America, I think.
So do you think that Britain is richer than the average American state?
I would say so, but I feel like that's not true. Because I saw something online saying that it's not true.
It's
but it
not
feels
true.
like
There
it
you go.
is.
It's not true. So the answer is, if Britain was an American state, it would be the poorest state per capita. It's just been overtaken by Mississippi and Alabama.
Yes.
So it's poorer per person now than Mississippi and Alabama. Does that shock you?
It honestly, I did see like the article on that, and I. do think-
That's cheating, if you don't mind me saying.
No, sorry, I did. I did see that, but it did shock me.
Cheetah.
Because I feel like I did live in Alabama,
She was in
and I feel
G-Shock.
like, just like I mean, this is London. I haven't really like gone other places, but I feel like still, it doesn't seem as poor as like spots in Alabama, or even when I like lived in New York. There was like a lot more of like kind of like a homeless culture there, and seeing that kind of stuff. So it was
Do
shocking.
you think it's partly like an inequality thing? Because obviously in America you have some very, very rich people and some very poor people. In the UK maybe people are more in the middle, but just sort of like a little bit below the middle. Do you think that's got something to do with it?
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I think that
I think it might have something to do with the what is it, 20 million new arrivals. That might have something to do. That messes everything up, doesn't it?
could definitely be it. I feel like there is like a big wealth gap in the United States right now.
If Britain was an American state, how many states do you think would be richer than per capita? How many states do you think would be poorer than per capita?
Oh wait, I just discussed this with someone. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That may or may not be cheating. We'll see
I
what you
heard
say.
that Britain would be like quite low actually.
Quite low, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. How low though? Out of
Very.
50, it'd be 51.
Like 43 or something.
43, okay. I've got some good news for you as an American. We would be the lowest.
Seriously?
Yeah, in GDP per capita, the UK would be lower than every single American state. We've been overtaken by Mississippi, the poorest American state. And clearly that surprised you. And that's not what you expected. Why do you think you found that surprising?
I think it's because I've spent most of my time in London, so
Yeah.
obviously it's like a wealthier city here.
Have you travelled outside London at all?
I've been to York and Edinburgh. I've also been to Cardiff.
Yeah.
So those are also a little bit wealthier cities, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was totally wrong about how much Hobbit.
Extremely abrupt end that was, wasn't it? Well, yeah, no, I enjoyed that, but again, I genuinely thought that the Americans might get it, but there was asking Americans in Britain. But I suppose it's a long way to go to America to ask 5 people that question. But anyway, yeah, no, that was fascinating. I enjoyed that. So it's basically, it's universal. People kind of think the same sort of thing, don't they? But yeah, no, if you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up if you want to and all that good stuff. I am just about to do this now, but it won't be out for, 3 hours. So once I've uploaded the one that you've just watched, about 3 hours later, this one will be up. While UK pints are bigger. But anyway, I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.